How on earth did the Giants manage to lose this game? How did that kind of a thing happen? How did they lose this game to the Twins when it was a game they absolutely needed to win and they were down to their final out? That question is extremely puzzling at best. So Alex Cobb pitched well today against the Twins. He went 5 scoreless innings. Giants scored 2 runs in the game. Both of them were on sacrifice flies. Tommy La Stella hit them a sacrifice fly in the 5th, and Austin Slater did so in the 9th. And the bullpen, it was Zach Littell and Alex Young who both pitched a scoreless inning. Then John Brebbia got 2 outs in the 8th. Then he got into a jam. Camilo Doval came in early and got out of it. Then it was the top of the 9th where Slater hit his sacrifice fly to increase the Giants' lead to 2-0. Then in the bottom of the 9th inning, Doval got into a situation with 2 outs and 2 runners on base and a 2-run lead. Big magic number of 2 right there. 2 outs, 2 runners on, 2 runs ahead. So he was 1 out away from getting a win that the Giants absolutely needed. A win that the Giants, it's like just to stay in this race, it's like you better win it. I mean, I'm not saying they're out of the race here, but they got to win games. This was a win they needed. Doval was down to his final out, then he gave up 2 back-to-back singles to tie the game. He got the next hitter to ground out, and to leave the game at a tie going into the extra innings, the Giants just cannot do it in extra innings. They're a very bad team playing in extra innings. I couldn't say enough about that. It's just practically impossible for them when on the road to get out of a tied game in the bottom of an extra inning with that automatic runner. It's just essentially impossible for the Giants to do that. And in the top of the 10th inning, they didn't score. And Joey Bart's ground out, it wasn't really a ground out. It was a fielder's choice where they tagged the runner going to third, and Bart went to first. And it's an out for another runner on. Not a double play, but not a desirable exchange. A runner on second for a runner on first in the top of the 10th. And they didn't score. So they had to go to the bottom of the 10th with the score tied 2-2. And all they can do is just somehow hope that their pitcher gets through it, gives them another chance in the 11th inning. But the Giants are horrible at this. They're just horrible all around in extra inning games. It's almost impossible for them to pull off a win. Especially, I would think this would be the case at home too. I'm not saying I think most of the extra inning games this year, at least if I remember correctly, I think most were on the road. But I wouldn't expect the Giants to really be any better in extra inning games at home. But it is nearly impossible, nearly impossible for them to get out of a situation with the automatic runner on second in the bottom half of an extra inning game, when they are on the road. So Dominic Leone was the pitcher for them, and he didn't give up any hits. It's that simple. The game wasn't won on a sacrifice fly either, mind you. It was a walk. So the first, I believe it was a fly, moved the Twins' automatic runner to third. Then Leone walks the next batter. That brought up the left-hander Max Kepler to the plate. Leone's the right-handed pitcher on the mound for the Giants, and Max Kepler, the left-handed hitter, is up. So in that tight spot where the Twins just need a hit or a sacrifice fly, whatever they can get to get the runner home, they had the platoon advantage. Left-handed hitter Max Kepler. And Leone walked him intentionally. That put runners at all the bases. That loaded the bases. Now, why would you walk a batter intentionally in the bottom half of an inning when the game's tied? Well, if the lead runner is not going to be forced anywhere, if the lead runner is already on third, a hit or a sacrifice is going to win the game anyway, it would seem to have no effect on the game. That's a situation where if the other team gets a run, they're going to win anyway. The lead runner is farther than first. That's why it can make sense to walk a hitter so that you'll be able to face a hitter, so that as a pitcher you can face a hitter that uses your same hand, usually a little bit easier to get out, or gives you the advantage. That's why Leone walked Kepler to load the bases. However, does that really have no effect on the game? That's what they say about it. An intentional walk with the lead runner farther than first has no effect on the game when you're on the road and the game is tied in what would be the final inning of a game if a team ended it being ahead. Is that true? No, it's really not. Because any intentional walk would make it one base more likely that a walk-off walk could lose the game, and that's exactly what happened here. It was Gilberto Celestino that Leone walked unintentionally. The intentional walk of Max Kepler was followed up by an unintentional walk. And in all fairness, walking Kepler would also set up the double play. That's the other thing. And the way in which it would seem to have no effect on the game is because basically, whether it's a single or a 3-run homer after that, the result would be the same on either of those. The Twins win. But walks are the other thing. In a situation like that, walks are the other very real thing that has to be taken into account. And it was a walk that killed the Giants. So what should have happened? Again, I said in all fairness, walking Kepler did set up the double play. But it didn't happen. Actually, wait, so there was already a runner on first base. I take that back, I'm sorry. The double play, for runners on first, the double play is already there. So, didn't have any, if there was a double play situation, like, it was already there. So, Leone walked Kepler to face the right-handed hitting Celestino. And the only effect it had on the game was what killed the Giants, that one less walk would be necessary. And with the bases loaded, a walk drives in a run there. So what should have happened? You know what? A walk's a real phenomenon in baseball. So I don't believe Gabe Kapler should have let Leone even stay in there to face Max Kepler. There should have been no intentional walk in this situation at all. Lefty reliever should have been brought in. Now, who am I talking about? Because Jarlin Garcia was the only lefty reliever who has had a lot of experience with the Giants and who the Giants have seen a lot of. He was the only lefty reliever in that category who would have been able to come in. And boy, I do not want Jarlin Garcia pitching in extra inning games for the Giants. It's just not something I want. I don't think that usually goes well when Garcia does it. They should have pitched to Max Kepler, yes, not walked him, because the intentional walk was followed up by an intentional one. So I'd rather the Giants had taken Leone out, but pitched to Kepler. Jarlin Garcia wasn't the man. You know who they should have brought in? Scott Alexander. The guy recently added to the Major League roster, who I think he was on a minor league deal this year. He pitched very well in AAA. He has not pitched yet in a Major League game. But you know what? I think that was the best bet the Giants had. I really do. Even though he had not pitched in a Major League game this year for the Giants, and ideally, you'd have him pitch in far lower leverage than this to see how he's doing, see if they can count on him. With limited options, and Tyler Rogers, the righty reliever, was available, but I just don't think he's a guy I can count on in a situation like this, at least not at this point. His ERA is over 400, and he's blown some close ones, so I wouldn't have wanted Tyler Rogers in for that either. Scott Alexander's the guy that looking back, I think the Giants should have brought in, even though he hasn't pitched for them. Pitched really well in the minors. Lefty reliever. Ideal situation to bring him in on his first appearance? No. High risk? Yes. I think it was the least risk they could possibly take in this extra inning situation. Not Jarlin Garcia. And remember what we said, the theme of this game is that the intentional walk was followed by an unintentional one of a right-handed hitter by the right-handed pitcher. So what would have happened if Scott Alexander had come in to face Max Kepler? That's what I think should have happened. No intentional walk there. They pitched to him. Alexander's the guy to do it. This is one of those situations where I'd say, give a pitcher that I can't evaluate yet a chance. And Alexander has had a long major league career. It's just this year he spent the whole season up until now in AAA. So it's one of those situations where I'd say, give a pitcher that I'm unable to evaluate at present a chance. That's what I think would have given the Giants the best chance to get out of this inning. But what happened, and the Twins won 3-2, and the Giants dropped a game that they absolutely needed to win. So I would say the main thing in this game was Camilo Doval. The Giants need their closer to be better and not to blow saves like that. But the other thing too, the intentional walk wasn't the right thing. I think Scott Alexander should have had a chance, and that's what I'd take there. I just want to see what would have happened had he pitched. This has been Giants Baseball 101. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you have not. Also, please comment on the video or email me at gabrielvaughn89@gmail.com. I'll see you next time on Giants Baseball 101. Thank you.